listening to the DFS On Deck podcast, brought to you by LineStar, the top-rated DFS tool set and #1 companion for DraftKings, FanDuel, and Yahoo Daily Fantasy. Go LineStar Premium now at LineStarApp.com. Now, here are your hosts, fantasy baseball experts Joe Pisapia and Chris Meaney.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and welcome to another episode of On Deck right here on the LineStar app. It's me, and it's Chris Meaney, and it's you. And Chris, another day, another home run call. Last night, if you listened to the show yesterday or even caught the clip on the internets, you heard JD Martinez was the pick to go yard. And, well, Chris Meaney, he did, which makes it, I don't know, what, now 5 in a row now? We're on another stretch here. Oh,
unreal. Yeah.
We're money.
Yeah, so money. Yeah, absolutely. JD crushed it. Edwin the other day with the grand salami. You are on fire. I had that song in my head all night.
On fire.
Fire. Yeah, I had it
girl is
all
on
night.
Fire.
All night that was in my head, but I didn't mind. I was just walking around singing it. The girlfriend was wondering what the hell is wrong with me. And I said, well, Joe Pisapia is hot fire, and we were calling home runs. You know, it was a pretty good day, really, from you calling home run shots and the betting lines as well. I mean, the Cardinals, we had that check. Cleveland, we had by 2 runs, check. We had the Red Sox by a couple, check. We had Cincy as road dogs.
Over in the Minnesota Yankees game.
Got that early.
Over.
Got that early.
Well, look,
we had Arizona by 2.
Dude, let's fly around because this is crazy. Speaking of Arizona, but it's Goldschmidt now. So I'm like, it's hard to break old habits. But Goldschmidt, we talked about him yesterday. The price went back down, buy back in. You said it. You said the home run potential is just there every night. So when it's down to 3-3 or whatever the price is on FanDuel, you got to play him. If you did, you got a dinger from him. Clevenger was money. He got the W. We told you don't get fancy. Our tournament arm of the night was Erod, who got a W. And by the way, scoreless innings for Erod. How very nice for him there. And it was helped by Benintendi too, which you got wrong, but we were saying, you know, he hasn't been hitting home runs. You got to pass until he starts to show you a little bit. Now we'll see if the algorithm's caught up. Garrett Cole got a W. He crushed Homer Bailey. We told everybody yesterday, Homer Bailey's going to be the trendy tournament arm. The Oppo, don't do it. It's probably a bad idea. And it was. Speaking of which, do you see that stat that Jordan Alvarez has 35 RBI in 30 games?
Isn't that unbelievable? And his first like 10 or 15 games, it is terrifying. And I can't imagine what he's going to get to next year with that lineup. Like his first 10 to 12 games, correct me if I'm wrong, but Springer and Altuve weren't even in the lineup. It was Bregman and just Brantley, like just Brantley, but like those 4 guys in the lineup every day. Yeah, with Jordan Alvarez hitting behind them, and then you put Carlos Correa in that.
He's
lineup.
Juan Gonzalez, dude. He's Juan Gonzalez. That's
goodness.
What he is.
This guy's going to have 140 RBI next year.
Oh my, so good, so damn good. We got a lot of home runs, boy, in that Yankee game. We talked about the right-handed bats in that lineup, right? We said there's so many right-handed bats. You should get in that Yankee game. Even Urshela was the guy we talked about. He went yard. You know, it's funny. Yesterday, JD was my number 1. Jose Ramirez was my number 2 home run call that you ended up taking. My third one, you know what it was that I didn't get to use that I probably should post it anyway, was Mitch Garver.
Oh my goodness,
right
the 2 bombs from
Mitch
him.
Garver.
You know what, Mitch Garver he's kind of somebody we glossed over. We mentioned him, but just looking more into his numbers, this guy is absolutely crushing lefties so far.
And the top of the order, that was my point. He's at the top of the order. He's probably going to get a couple extra ABs in this game because we think it's going to go in the over. He's a great investment, but I didn't. Again, he was behind JD in my home run calls just because, you know, JD's a little higher on the home run trough, but hilarious.
Listen to some of these numbers from him, though, just quickly for Garver. Just note for next time, like DraftKings obviously has him priced appropriately, but he still returned value last night. But 373 average against lefties. He's got a 527 WOBA against lefties, and you're looking at just hard hit rates, 64% hard hit rate against lefties. That is somebody who is absolutely crushing left-handed pitching. Those marks are all top 5 in baseball. I mean, off the charts.
It's crazy. We talked about Yoan Moncada. I believe the phrase was, I think I'll take a one-off in this game with Yoan Moncada, and then I'll leave the rest of this game alone. Yoan Moncada went yard. It was crazy.
Yeah,
sometimes we grade ourselves. Sometimes it's a B-, sometimes it's a C. Sometimes we're A-, B+. Usually we're in that B+, A- range at least. We're always high grades. But we were at A+ yesterday. I mean, Robbie Ray got the W too. Another Robbie Ray 5 2/3. We said it's a good bet at home against the Orioles. He got the W in that one. We liked him on the FanDuel side as the other tournament arm. I mean, I'm exhausted of we were just so damn good. I mean, I don't know what to say anymore. It was a great night for the show. That's what it was.
It was a great night for the show. Let's do it again. And yeah, thanks for the feedback from people too listening. We've had such a positive feedback, people
Twitter
having
people
success.
Out there,
yeah,
I love it. I love when people listen to the show and they're winning money and having success. Because hey, look, we literally do this because it's fun for us. I mean, at the end of the day, it's fun. And the LineStar people gave us this platform to do it, and they believed in us. And we appreciate that. And I think their confidence in us to do the kind of show that we wanted to do. They never once told us, do it this way, do it that way. They said, you guys figure out what you want the show to be. And we did. And I think that's what matters. And I think that when you pair that with the LineStar app, it can't get any better. And you should get that LineStar app right away. Use it along with us because we're using it too. It's all part of the system here. And you say, well, how are you having so much success? Well, part of it is also research on the LineStar app. It's all tied together, and we're just getting started. Fantasy football is around the corner. Next month, Chris and I will be doing the pre-snap. Go right now to the pre-snap show. Just go ahead. It's over on iTunes and everywhere else, on Stitcher, everywhere, and just subscribe to it now. We'll be back in a couple weeks doing that show too, getting ready for football season. Go get your Fantasy Football Black Book 2019 also, because that book right now just got number 1 in the 22 new not even fantasy, just football reads by Book Authority. Number 1, we're ahead of Belichick book by Ian O'Connor, a bunch of other huge books. It's crazy.
That's
but
huge,
the Black
man.
Book's number 1, man. I'm so proud of our team, Chris. Really.
Yeah.
And Chris did the DFS chapter in it, so you got to go get that and get ready for football.
I'm proud of you, man. Like this is a project of yours. It's been
10 years in the making, baby.
10 years in the making. I've known you for a few years now, and I've seen the progress every single year. I'm honored. I'm pleased that you reach out to me to have a little piece in the book. It's such a, like I said last week. I mean, I'm not just saying this like as your friend. I'm not just saying this as your buddy. Like it is a terrific read, and I've had a few people reach out to me, and they're not even big fantasy football players. They're just sports readers. Like they're just football guys and baseball guys, and they just get enjoyment from reading that book. It's it's not very expensive. It's a fun read, and congratulations to you, man.
Thanks,
like
it's
you deserve it. So it's good stuff.
We just got that out, but look, we're nothing today. Today's a whole new day. Yes, it is.
Yeah, we got to back it up. That was
yesterday. So now we got to get humble again and start from scratch. That's the fun thing about baseball. Every day, football, you have a good week. You can sit on it for 5-6 days.
You can, yeah.
Baseball, it's like, yay. All right, let's get up and have a coffee and do it. And I got coffee today. That was the difference yesterday. No coffee. Maybe
you shouldn't be drinking coffee.
Maybe I should not be drinking any coffee in the morning before the show. Maybe stone cold Joe Pisapia is the way you want me before the coffee, before I get that caffeine boost. But let's start back at it. And look, this is the funniest thing ever, because look at this late. You see the rain out yesterday. You got Peter Lambert now.
I know.
And now we can't use him because he's against Strasburg. We had him yesterday in that secondary arm on DK. And of course, the rains came.
It's not meant to be. It's not meant to be for us to use Peter Lambert. It really isn't. Yeah. And looking into some of his numbers too. I was looking more into his numbers. And I know, like I said yesterday, a lot of his starts have come at Coors Field. This is just his third start on the road, but he's allowed 43 hits and 24 runs and 9 homers and just 35 innings. So there's a lot of risk even rolling him out, especially when there's so many stud pitchers today. If you want to get nuts, I understand like the stars and scrub approach, but I think there's better spots to do that. So I would attack him. Juan Soto, Matt Adams. Those are 2 lefties I'm looking at to attack Lambert. Like just a 48% hard hit rate, 39% fly ball rate, and just an unbelievable slash line of 404 WOBA, 662 slugging lefties. That's the way to go, I think.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%.
Poor Lambert.
It's poor Peter Lambert. It reminds me of his brother Adam Lambert song. What do you want from me? Can't get anything right. What do you want from me? I want to start you. I just can't do it.
You just can't do it. Yeah.
So Steven Strasburg, Alder Strasburg in this one, 10.7 for him. He's been very good this year. It's
very,
funny,
very good.
Very quietly almost. He kind of got lost in the shuffle of all these great pitching performances kind of popped up out of nowhere. Meanwhile, you can argue this has been Strasburg's best season. He hasn't been hurt yet, and I emphasize yet.
Yeah, knock on wood there. Knock on wood there. Yeah,
he's 10K. I think it's a great value. I understand Colorado's a good team, but Strasburg, I think, is a cash game lock tonight. In terms of offense here, look, it's going to go with Juan Soto at 3.9. I think that's the guy I'm cherry picking off the top there. Probably Trey Turner at 4 too. I like those two guys on FanDuel. DK, always a little harder. But Soto's 4.6, so it's pretty reasonable. I think you can get behind those. And Trey Turner 4.7, not quite in the 5 range, but I think doable. Let's move on to go to Hudson. 6.5 on DK. Here we go again. 8 on FanDuel. Now, he jumped a little bit on FanDuel. Not a lot, but a little. He's going against Chris Archer. Great matchup. Again, standalone. It's tough because of the strikeouts. Not super high strikeout. But secondary pitcher tonight, lock it in, baby. 6.5 against Archer. I love this tonight, Chris.
Yeah, he's been just so consistent. I mean, I don't want to say that phrase, like he is what he is. It's such an annoying thing to say, but I mean, really what you see with Hudson is what you're going to get. Like he's somebody, like you said, doesn't strike out a lot of guys, but he keeps the ball on the ground, a 59% ground ball rate and 59% ground ball rate for his career. There's nothing lucky about what he's doing right now. His numbers are very similar in 2019 and 2018. So he's a ratios guy. I like St. Louis again. We were all over him yesterday as road dogs. They're road dogs again. They're playing good ball lately. They are. They're starting to score a few more runs. We mentioned Paul DeYoung is somebody who's been a little bit better. Goldschmidt, he hit the grand slam yesterday. Tyler O'Neill is a value play over on FanDuel, hitting cleanup for them. If Jose Martinez gets in the lineup, he's another guy. I'm not saying to stack against Chris Archer, but this is a team that I feel confident taking them on the money line once again.
All right, so let's move on here. We've got the Blue Jays again at home facing Cleveland, and now it's funny. You start loading up. You see Clevenger yesterday. You got Bauer today, and you start to get the full effect of this rotation now with Bieber. And it's a shame that Carrasco unfortunately had his issue.
It is.
It's funny. We haven't even made that connection, but kind of since the Carrasco thing, or right around there, this team kind of galvanized around that. Don't you feel like? And they've been playing better baseball. I know it doesn't show up in the box score, but this, these guys are not just numbers on a page; they're people, and I think this kind of galvanized this group a little bit. And it showed because they played much better. 11-4, still reasonable on DK. I think you can still get in there. It's tough. 10-9, if you like him better, the strikeout potential for him and Strasburg is even. I'll lean Strasburg in the National League ballpark without the DH and save the $900 and spend it. But I can't flouch it for not. What are your feelings on Bauer versus Strasburg tonight in terms of where you'd go?
I think Strasburg's just safer. And that may be weird to say because he's up against Colorado, but they do have a top 10 strikeout rate against right-handed pitching, and Strasburg's been really, really safe. And Colorado is a different team on the road. Let's be honest. They're not the same team. Once you get through those first 5 hitters, those last 4 hitters will be layups for Strasburg. I do like Trevor Bauer. I think he's probably more
worth
of a
$900.
Probably not, because
I
he's
don't
too
think so
wild,
either.
right? You look at it, if I'm splitting between him and Strasburg, I'm seeing a guy that walks 2 per 9, and I'm seeing a guy that walks
it is Aaron
4 per 9.
Sanchez after all.
Well, you're going to get the W. And Cleveland's only minus 168 favorites right now. That's going to happen. They're going to get the run support. Bauer is going to get that run support against Aaron Sanchez. I believe his last 8 straight starts. He hasn't been good at all. So looking at Bauer, this is the one thing I look at his game log and I see the double-digit strikeouts now. In his game, 3 of the last 5, he's reached that mark, at least 9K and 4 of the last 5. He had an outing against the Jays where he went 7 scoreless, didn't give up any hits, struck out 8, but he walked 6. And that's what, when you're splitting hairs, there's a little bit more risk with Bauer, but I don't mind getting to him from tournaments. I don't mind spending up 11-4, but Strasburg is a little bit safer. Get more of a balance, I guess, with him too.
I think so too. I will go back to the Indians well though. Jose Ramirez is now up to 4.2. That's a little tricky. Francisco Lindor at 4.3. I like this better though because Sanchez is the righty, so everybody's going from the left side of the plate. So I'm willing to spend up a little bit more. Mercado also at 3.7. That's another one too I would throw in this mix.
Mercado's been so good.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you could stack that 1 through 4 on FanDuel, and it's pretty reasonable. It's not out of control. Actually, not even 1 through 4. Excuse me. Skip Kipnis. Go to Ramirez.
I would go to Ramirez. Even if he didn't get, you could see the confidence with him now.
Yeah.
He went the other way when they had the shift. That's a player who's not pressing anymore. There's a shift on him late in the game, and he went the other way, and it basically laid down a bunt. So another 2 hits from him yesterday. Another RBI, stole a base. All of a sudden, he's got 2 stolen bases in the last.
His
6
approach
games.
has been so much better, and that's the thing. It's when you're struggling, it's look, you have 1 or 2 ways: get your hits and change your approach, or keep doing something that's wrong. And I mean, eventually everyone's got to turn around. You got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, I got to change the approach a little bit, start getting some hits, stop worrying about home runs, stop worrying about being the guy I was last year, and just get back to doing things the right way. And eventually you hit a good patch. You get an epically bad patch to start the year. And, that's the beauty of DFS.
Yeah.
You don't have to be
ride
beholden.
them out. Ride Cleveland out for sure.
I love Chris Paddock tonight too at 9.5. That's another tournament arm on FanDuel. I think is a terrific matchup here. It's in New York against the Mets, against Jason Vargas at 6.8. He's 10-3 on DK. DK, I don't love it as much. It's too close to the Strasburg price, so I'd rather go with Strasburg. But on FanDuel, I'm getting enough of a discount where I think the ownership will be a little bit lower. I like Paddock tonight in that one. In terms of also where we're going for home runs tonight, you look Franmil Reyes against the lefty. We love that. So he's only 2.9. Manny Machado is just 4. The FanDuel pricing, even 4.2 for Tatis, is very good. The DK pricing on Tatis is out of control. 5.4 is just nuts.
Man,
it's just
crazy.
Madness. So I'm just running away from it there. But on FanDuel, I'm not. On FanDuel, I like the stack against Vargas tonight.
Yeah, I love Machado. I mean, he's got a league high 5.32 WOBA against left-handed pitching. There's a few guys in that lineup that hit lefties pretty well. I mean, Tatis is obviously one, but yeah, 5.4 and the chance of rain, I probably shy away. But for Manny Machado, for sure. Hunter Renfroe is another guy who hits lefties really well. He's got a 50% hard hit rate against left-handed pitching. So those are two guys that, if you can find a way to get them in your lineup, I mean, obviously a little bit easier over on FanDuel, 3, 3, and 4. I mean, that's a steal for Manny Machado even at 4. I feel like that's a steal. He's cheaper than Jose Ramirez. So Manny Machado has been crushing lefties all year.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Chris Sale is 11K on DK against the Rays. This one's in Tampa. He's 10-2 on FanDuel. So there's another really good pricing. So I'm going to pose the contest to you again. Steven Strasburg at 10, at home, National League ballpark, against the National League team, no DH, or Chris Sale on the road in Tampa against the Rays. Who are you taking for your cash game arm? This is a tough one.
It is a tough one. I loved what I saw from Sale in his last start. But again, this is somebody who only goes like 6 innings. And I know the Rays have the third highest strikeout rate against lefties, 26%. That's what they're doing against left-handed pitching. And they already faced Sale earlier in the year, struck out 8 times. I think I'll go Chris Sale. I really do. I think the ceiling is just slightly higher. Red Sox scoring some runs. I will go Chris Sale in tournaments. But for cash, I think I would just go Strasburg. Again, I just think he may slightly be safer, but I feel like the ceiling is higher with Sale. I really do. I feel like there's a better chance at double-digit strikeouts from Chris Sale tonight.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think I probably agree with you. And I just, I don't love this Rays lineup. I haven't made any bones about that. I was never really buying in 100%, even when they were so good in the beginning of the year and Austin Meadows was out of control. But yeah.
He's come crashing back down to earth. The Andy Diaz is a guy who crushes lefties. He left the lineup yesterday. I don't know if he's going to be in the lineup.
Yeah, I doubt it. I mean, I don't know. I'd be very surprised if he was, personally.
Yeah. So there's some holes all of a sudden in that lineup. Like, is Matt Duffy going to play? Like, there are some holes. Like Travis d'Arnaud's leading off for them. Like, he's been good lately, but Chris Sale should be able to rack up double-digit strikeouts in this start.
Yeah. I agree. Also from the perspective of ownership, just so you know, JD Martinez, his price went down. It's down to 3.9 now.
Come on.
So get in there. Just do it.
Yeah, no kidding. Red Sox are hot now. Mookie Betts leads baseball in runs by like 20, and he's gotten like 30 in the past 2 weeks. He's
only 4.5. That's very doable still. That's still doable on FanDuel. You can get JD and Mookie, pair them up there. And we'll as we always do, we're gonna cherry pick some guys, including Franmil, who's 2.9. So keep that guy in mind as a lineup builder on FanDuel tonight. You got a lot of great pitchers on the board too. You got Aaron Nola tonight, who's also been straight fire. He's 10.5 on FanDuel. Over on DK, he's 10-1. I feel like tonight's one of those nights, Chris, where you're on DK where you're gonna really have to be good tonight. You have to make the 2 right pitching selections. It's going to be really tough. It's like you almost have to look and say, okay, who could lose? And I think Nola could lose to Boyd, but I don't think he will. That Detroit offense, they don't get to see Aaron Nola very frequently. This is, I think, a bad spot for Detroit. I know it's on the road, but this is another one too where it's hard not to like Nola, but I don't know, man. Like, I feel like you might have to go double up on 2 huge pitchers and just kind of slumdog millionaire the offense tonight a little bit. Like, it's going to be tough on DK. It's really tough tonight.
Yeah, it is tough. I like Nola a lot. I mean, 26% of the time the Tigers are striking out against right-handed pitching. That's the top mark in baseball. So And again, this is another matchup where Boyd has to go up against an ace. So I mean, he's had a rough go here. But if you are splitting hairs and you're looking like this is, in terms of pitcher on pitcher, this is probably one of the tougher ones. Like Chris Sale has Chirinos, like obviously that's a mismatch. Bauer has Sanchez, that's a mismatch, and Strasburg has Lambert, so that's also a mismatch. So if you are a little bit worried about, we talk about maybe running away, I think that Nola will be fine, and I'm pretty sure the Phillies will be able to do enough against Matt Boyd. Maybe Rhys Hoskins is a tournament guy you can think about as maybe a home run call there. But Nola, you take that price discount, you can roll him out there in tournaments. I have no problem. I think he's a decent cash game play too.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's a lot of good arms. You're right. There's a lot of good arms. There really is.
That's why I think you go up. Yesterday was a day where we said you can probably fade a little of the pitching. We gave you Robbie Ray. We gave you some of the other guys you can get if you didn't want the Clevenger price. If you didn't want to go up to the top of the board, there were plenty of options. Roberto Rodriguez, you can get by. Tonight is one of those nights where I still believe in Dakota Hudson as a secondary arm with any of these guys we're talking about. But I think in tournaments, it's going to be one of those nights where two of the big cash game arms are going to go off and carry whatever the smart offense is. So we got to keep digging until we find the smart offense of the night and where it's going to be. One question before we move on. Do you think that smart offense might be Philadelphia tonight against Boyd at all? I know we got to look for something low ownership wise. I don't think so, but Rhys Hoskins has been better lately. So I'm just kind of throwing that out there.
Yeah, I do like Hoskins as a tournament guy, as standalone, but maybe not. I don't think I'll stack Philly. I think that Boyd could be decent in the start. I mean, looking at LineStar.
Well, the reason I say Philly is because they got Kingery, Segura, Hoskins, Real Muto. Yeah. They got a stacked right-handed group there at the top.
Yeah, they do. And 18 of the 21 home runs that he's allowed have come to right-handed bats. So I fully get it. I don't know if Segura is going to get in the lineup, but I do like Hoskins. Franco maybe as somebody you could roll out there in tournaments. I feel like Boyd may just allow 2 or 3 solo shots. I feel like he could be decent in this game as well. And looking at the LineStar app, is all the pitchers we're talking about, like the highest projected guy is Bauer, followed by Nola, followed by Sale, and then you get into Paddock and Boyd. Strasburg's actually pretty. I mean, he's next, like 6 down the list. So, and it's not like he's projected low. There's some good arms here. So, to answer your original question, I won't stack Phillies. I think there's another offense we'll be able to find cheap, but
all right.
I will have some exposure to Rhys. Yeah.
All right. Is that offense the Royals against Dallas Keuchel?
Yeah,
I mean, Dozier, Jorge Soler, Whit Merrifield. It's not on. The problem is it's not on DK. See, that's the problem. DK, Whit Merrifield's 5. Hunter Dozier's 4.7. I can't do that on FanDuel. I can.
It may be Miami when we get down there. I know they didn't do anything yesterday against Ivan Nova.
Can't do it. I can't do anything.
Do it. I know it's
so bad. It sucks so bad. They suck so hard, dude.
Cincinnati could be that offense against Zach Davies.
But can
we'll get there
on DK? See, that's the thing. It's like, can they be that offense on DK? All right, look, I don't want Duffy or Keuchel in this game. I got nothing to do with this on there. Too expensive on DK
I love
for the bats.
Braves. I know it's so expensive. You can't mix them in with these pitchers, but they're gonna get that run total for sure. I mean, Duffy's been awful, and there's got so many guys who hit lefties well. All you could do is probably go down to like Austin Riley's down to 3 on FanDuel. Albies is at 3.3. Dansby Swanson's at 3.2. Maybe if you take the cheap guys in Atlanta on the FanDuel side, you can do a little damage there. All right, Domingo Rahman is 9.3 tonight against Kyle Gibson. I'll tell you what, this is a high total again tonight, and it's at 10. And I think this is going to go over a second time. I think this is going to be a bloodbath of a series between these two teams. So that's where I'm at, and I'm going to go. Right back to the well. In fact, what you're going to do is you're going to add Didi Gregorius at 2.9. Talk about lineup builders on a night where there's big pitching. Didi is at 2.9, at 3.9 on DK. He should be in all lineups tonight, I think, against the right-hander Kyle Gibson. I love this matchup for him. Absolutely. Yeah, the Yankees are so stacked, they're not even playing him against left-handed pitching. So that's why I think we're seeing a price discount. That's why I think people are dropping him in season-long formats. I mean, I think that's silly. I feel like he's an automatic play because of the price every time he goes up against a right-handed pitcher. So you're right. DraftKings has been cautious on his price, and he's at 2.9. To your point, you just said it, 2.9 on FanDuel. I mean, come on. You get him in there. There's going to be double-digit runs again in this game.
If you're afraid of the secondary arm of Dakota Hudson on DK. Mike Fiers is another alternative at 7. He's been very good. The ownership's going to be super low against the Astros. There's risk to it. I definitely don't think this is like a single tournament entry kind of pairing, but I can understand it. Like I think tonight you could probably get 2 of the big pitchers on DK, and as long as they perform well and your offense doesn't get used goose eggs, you could probably still hit cash lines, I think. But it's the pay lines in tournaments, I think, are going to be all over the board tonight. This is a really tricky slate. So what's your feeling about this game from Houston and Athletics? What do you see in this one from either side of the FanDuel DK board that you think bears witness?
I thought a little bit actually about Wade Miley the other way, but neither of these guys are going to strike anybody out. That's the thing. That's the one problem. Like, neither of them are going to strike anybody out. The Astros strike out the least in baseball. The A's strike out the second least in baseball. Like, there's going to be a lot of contact in this game. Like, this is one I think we're going to see double-digit runs. The only reason that Miley is I feel like Houston's going to get the win, keeps the ball on the ground. The one bat in that lineup that I'm really scared of is Matt Olson to get the lefty on lefty, even though he's crushed lefties so far this year as well. I can't get there with either pitcher. If this was flipped the other way, I may go Fiers, and it really is that difference. He is a complete different pitcher at home compared to on the road. So I personally won't get there. He gives up a lot of contact, a lot of hard contact, a lot of fly balls. I think we'll see some regression out of him in the second half and starts on the road. So I'll shy away. I really like Mark Canha as a bat that's hitting cleanup for Oakland. He's been pretty good over the past couple weeks. I think he's deserved that role. He's moved up in the order. He's a little bit more expensive on DK 4-5, but I think he's a sneaky little bat. And Chris Davis at 3-6. I picked him up off the waiver wire the other day. People are completely out off Chris Davis. So
come on, the guy's
again,
we don't want every year.
Yeah, we don't want to beat that. We've talked enough about him, but
no, I know. But
he's somebody I think we should continue.
That's what benches are for. No, drop a guy like that. Yeah. That's just so stupid.
Just like Goldschmidt. Just like we've been talking about Goldschmidt. That's the guy who eventually.
And Benintendi, and look, he went yard yesterday too. So I mean, come on, it's baseball. You got to pay attention here. You got to hang tight. Caleb Smith, Dylan Covey. All right, convince me because I got nothing here again. I'll say, I'll say this. I'll go down to the Jose Abreu well at 3.9 against Caleb Smith on DK. That's a great price for him.
It is
3.3 on FanDuel. I think Jose Abreu is a great choice tonight. Outside of that, dude, I can't figure out where to go in the Marlins lineup. I know where you're coming from with this.
Yeah.
But the discount is not on DK. I don't see enough of it where I'm like, okay, I see upside. I mean, Alfaro's nice, but I don't know. I know
they really haven't. Like we said this yesterday. So it didn't work out yesterday against Nova. Should have pushed Nova maybe a little bit more. But yeah, all of these guys.
I can't.
Of these guys.
No.
I just wanted to hear the no again.
No.
All of these guys in the Miami lineup are 3K or cheaper. So I mean, that's how you do it on FanDuel. It's pretty easy. I mean, you could get Cooper, you can get Brian Anderson, you can get Walker, or you can get Granderson. Has got some home running. He's 2K. Right. So a Covey has an 86% contact rate. He doesn't strike out anybody. He does keep the ball on the ground for the most part, but lefties hitting 342 against them. Where's the lefties in this lineup? I mean, it's Granderson. You can get Walker on the other side of the plate. Those are the two guys. It's pretty heavy right-handed lineup in Miami, but they're at least going to be able to make some contact against Covey. I mean, this is just what he does. He gives up contact. I mean, look at the game logs and like 3 hits in 2 innings, 4 hits, and he went up against Oakland. Didn't even get out of the first. He allowed 4 hits, 6 runs. The start before that against Washington, 7 hits, Cleveland, 8 hits. Like, he just gives up contact. And then the White Sox bullpen, it's okay. It's not the best. It's a little bit better towards the end of the game. But if he only lasts a couple innings, then we're going to get some mediocre arms. So I think that's the way, man. If you really want to do it, if you're a guy that loves to just go all out on pitching, like you want to go Strasburg Bauer or you want to go Nola Sale, you're going to have to do it this way.
Look, the only other guy out there pitching wise that I think we have to really talk about is Madison Bumgarner, because I know we're kind of going along a little bit today, but Bumgarner at 9 on FanDuel is another guy. I think if you're going to fade that top group, he's at home. The Cubs have not been, I don't know, the Cubs aren't not scary to me. He's 9K on both sides. This is another guy where I think you might be able to drop down a little bit and take that extra grand that you would save and still do okay. I think the savvy person tonight will look at this board, take Nola, take Sale, and then take Bumgarner instead of taking 2 of the top guys. I think that might be the path to tournament success tonight, personally, because I think you're going to have 2 big time outings. And, it's like all or nothing. And the all or nothing is kind of tough. And the guys in the middle, or the Dakota Hudsons, or, guys who are nice but not great, in terms of strikeouts. So, the upside's limited. And in terms of offense too, so I'm fading the Cubs obviously on that. I'm getting another lefty against the Rangers. So we're out there as we always are. You're getting the Dodgers against the Angels. Let's chat about this one too, and then we'll go back to some of these other ones. So what are your thoughts on the Angels here on the road against Kenta Maeda? Felix Pena is going to start this one.
Yeah, I think there's going to be runs on both sides of this game. The Angels
do high total too. It's another 9.5.
High total. 9.5, and it'll probably rise. I mean, the Dodgers are obviously going to be able to have success against Felix Pena. Some of those lefty bats in there for sure, and Turner's heating up as well. He's a nice little discount. But for Maeda, the Angels do well against righties. They really do. I know Maeda's he's a better pitcher at home, a 2.22 ERA. Again, some of those guys like Upton, Simmons, Fletcher, those are guys I like. It's not a strong stack, but I don't know if you were asking if I like Kenta Maeda.
I don't know. I'm just kind of like getting a feel here.
Not overly. I don't overly like Maeda.
I don't either.
He does well against lefties. I mean, lefties are only hitting or righties actually only hitting 141 against him. So maybe a tournament cash saver. Like if you want to go that way.
If Ohtani's not in this lineup, then
Yeah, and he won't be. He won't be in this lineup.
Right. So
maybe that's a way to go. It's just so dangerous. To your point when you're talking about Mad Bum, like to fade those top 4 pitchers, you really you still want to get a solid arm in there. So
I mean, almost becomes like then it becomes maybe you do the pairing of Bumgarner and Paddock or Bumgarner, like you try to find it that way. Maybe.
Yeah,
this is a night where I'm desperate for Sonny Gray. I'm desperate for Sonny Gray on a night like tonight, and I'm not getting it. 2 more games on the board here. I think more offense than anything. It's the Reds in Milwaukee, Tanner Roark against Davies, then Dylan Bundy and Merrill Kelly in Arizona. So, look, I think we're just going to talk about the offense in these. I wish the Orioles were more capable of putting runs together. And on DK, I don't love the pricing, so they're a hard pass for me. I think what I'm going to do is I kind of agree with Chris here, where maybe we start to go with those Reds. And again, it's so much easier on FanDuel. I mean, they're just Suarez is 3.6. Puig is 3.4. It's just, I don't know, man. Scooter is down to 2.4. Look, there's another one. 2.4, that's a gimme. That is a free square, as Chris likes to say. So on the DK side, Scooter is 3.5. I mean, where do you go here? I mean, are the Reds that sneaky group tonight where on DK you can kind of sneak in some of those bats and get a move on?
I think so. Again, especially if you're playing over on FanDuel, like Suarez 3.6, as you mentioned, and Puig 3.4. Like that's the guy, Scooter Gennett. I know he's been pretty mediocre, and that's putting it he really hasn't been good at all since he's returned. But 3.5, I mean, you're looking for just somebody with some upside in the middle of a decent lineup with a high total. I mean, 4.4 doesn't seem like it's too high, but Zach Davies he's not somebody that I fully believe in. I think there's some regression coming from him. Somebody gives up a lot of hard contact, so I think you can go that way. Suarez had a couple of bombs yesterday. I think he had I read that he had a freak out yesterday in the ball game when they blew the game. Milwaukee came back. They had the grand slam to come back in the 8th, and Suarez had a freak out in the dugout and said, "We need this game. We need this game." What does he do? Goes up in the 9th and just hits a bomb. His second of the game. So he's heating up. Puig is good. Those are 2 guys in Scooter Gennett. I think that's the way to go. I mean, I still don't mind Miami. I feel like they're a team that's going to make some contact if you want to spend up on some pitching. And I feel like because of yesterday against Ivan Nova and they only scored 1 run, nobody's going to be on Miami again. Nobody's going to be like, oh yeah, please let me waste my money on Miami a second straight night. It's just not going to happen. And here we are with another team implied total of 5. So that's where I lean, honestly, for the contrarian GPP offense. Where is it going to come from? I think it could come from there. But listen, Davies has 68 strikeouts in 109 innings. That just goes to show you he makes a lot of contact.
Yeah, a ton of contact. I like that call with the Reds. All right, betting lines today, Chris. I'm going to wind you up and go because you're the man when it comes to this. Go for it.
Yeah, hopefully we can have another day like yesterday. Only the Cubs screwed us over. I think St. Louis up at the top with the road dogs there. St. Louis, I think we can feel pretty good about Cleveland again. A couple runs for sure. The Red Sox on the road as well. The Phillies on the road. I like the Padres. I like what you're saying there with Paddock, and I think Manny Machado and a couple guys have had some success against left-handed pitching. The Braves, you're going to have to lay some juice. They're heavy favorites at home against Duffy. You may want to stay away from that. If you want to pick them by 2, I think that's a pretty solid investment. The over in Milwaukee, 9.5 between Roark and Davies. I like the over again between the Yankees and the Twins. let's just go with Miami and Caleb Smith on the road and Miami to get it done. I know it's going to be risky, guys, but they're favorites for a reason. And part of it is Smith, and I think they'll be able to score some runs. Dodgers at home, and then, Arizona by 2. That's still in Bundy. We didn't even talk about Bundy, but Arizona, they scored some runs yesterday. They probably score a few runs again. A little bit cheaper over on FanDuel. Lamb, Walker, those guys.
All right, it's time to call our shot, Chris. It's home run time, and JD was on the money last night, so we're riding another hot streak here on the show, and I intend to stay hot, baby. I intend to say smoking hot right here on the program, and I'm going to go a little one off here because the guy gives up a ton of home runs, and I think it's possible. And we talked about him last week. He's kind of the sneaky guy and, kind of having a good season. Nobody's kind of realizing, maybe just not quite hitting expectations, but this whole team has kind of been a failure of sorts. And I'm going to go with Rhys Hoskins tonight against Matt Boyd. So there you go, Mr. Hoskins, 4.0 on DK. I like that spot there. Over on the FanDuel side, price is a little bit different there, at $3.9, a whole $100 different. So I think Rhys Hoskins is going to take Matthew Boyd deep tonight. Chris, where are you going to call your shot?
I love that call by you. Yeah, you're really
get your pens and papers out, boys and girls. Let's go.
You're really testing the heat. I'm going to go with a guy who's had a little bit more success this season. I'm going to head to Atlanta against Danny Duffy. I'm going to go to the top of the order with Ronald Acuna Jr. I haven't picked him yet this year. I think he's in a pretty good spot against Danny Duffy. He's very expensive. If you want that contrarian, Austin Riley, you mentioned him. You just threw his price out. Over at The Athletic on a chat on Monday, nobody wants anything to do with Austin Riley at all anymore. They think everybody has figured him out. He's hit lefties really well. I think that's a good call by you earlier, that price on 3K. I think you should have him in your lineups as well.
All right, so that'll do it for us. As a reminder, go subscribe not only to this show on deck, but also to the pre-snap. Football is coming. Go get your Fantasy Football Black Book 2019 DFS chapter by our own Chris Meaney. Go download the LineStar app and follow us on LineStar MLB and at LineStar app and at Joe Pisapia 17 and at Chris Meaney. Oh my God, your fingers are exhausted from all that Twitter following. But in the meantime, have a great night at DFS. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back again tomorrow as always. And there's only one thing left to do, and that's step out of the on-deck circle and into the batter's box and go yard. We'll see you next time, kids.
You've been listening to the DFS On Deck podcast, brought to you by LineStar. Hit subscribe, tell a friend, and stay tuned for the next episode from fantasy baseball experts Joe Pisapia and Chris Meaney.